Good morning, friends. Happy Thursday. Karen, good morning. Welcome in. Welcome in, everybody. Are we ready for another day of crochet? I am. I'm ready. Let's make a pumpkin. Hopefully, I have enough yarn. I don't know if I'm going to have enough yarn to finish this pumpkin, so we're going to wing it here. I've got this much left. So we might be doing a little yarn chicken this morning. Jody, good morning. Welcome in, everybody. We're working on the wheat stitch pumpkin this morning. We started this project last week, and I'm wanting to get this little guy wrapped up and finished. Angela, good morning. Welcome in. So, where did I leave off here? Hopefully we have enough yarn. We're gonna find out here shortly. We're gonna make do with what we've got because I don't think I have any more of this autumn stripe. We're gonna find out. Let me raise y'all up here a little bit. Thank you, Freckled. This yarn I'm using this morning, I'm using two different colorways. Both of these are I Love This Yarn. The orange color that I'm using here is Burnt Pumpkin. And the variegated that you see here is Autumn Stripe. Both of them are I Love This Yarn from Hobby Lobby. Kimberly, thank you so much for the heart me, my friend. Appreciate you. Okay, so we're making the wheat stitch here. I'm alternating these two colors. We're doing 2 rows of the autumn stripe, which is giving us the wheat pattern, you can see right here. And then the orange color that we're doing is our single crochets in between, what's giving it that little texture. Debbie, good morning. Welcome in, friend. Hope everybody's having a great Thursday. Second day of vacation. What's not to love over here, right? Hey, Kate, good morning. Red Lady, thank you so much for the finger hearts this morning. Appreciate you. So the way we do this, we're working this wheat stitch in increments of 2. We're doing a single crochet followed by a modified puff stitch. And that is what is giving it this awesome wheat texture. Funny 67, good morning. Welcome in. Deborah is here. Good morning, Deborah. How are you? Cindy, good morning. Debbie is here. Good morning, Debbie. Hope everybody's having a fabulous day. So the way we do this is we're going to work in these 2 stitches right here, 1 and 2. And we're going to skip 1 stitch into the next. We're going to do a single crochet. Then what we're going to do is come back and we're going to work in this stitch that we skipped. And we're going to do the modified puff. Kathleen, good morning. Welcome in. We're going to yarn over, go down into that stitch that we skipped all the way through, grab up a loop, pull it up nice and tall. We're going to hold that stitch and we're going to make this a little puffier. So we're going to yarn over once again, right back down into that same space, pull up another loop. Now we have a total of 5 loops on our hook. Yarn over, pull through the first 4, and yarn over and pull through the last 2. When we do that, when we work around the single crochet, it kind of gives it this slanted angle of our wheat stitch. Looks really, really pretty. Lulu, good morning. Welcome in. Let me see if I can adjust this camera just a smidge. See if we can get the angle a little better. Debbie, thank you so much for the heart me. Okay, here we go. Skip 1 into the next, single crochet. Now we're going to come back into this one that we skipped with our modified puff. Yarn over, right down into that space, all the way through. Grab up a loop, pull it up nice and tall. And we're going to hold this. We're going to make this a little puffier. So yarn over, right back down into that same space, grab up another loop, pull it up nice and tall. Now we have 5 loops on our hook. Yarn over, pull through the first 4, and yarn over, pull through the last 2. This is the first half of our wheat stitch. Miss Mary, good morning. Kay is here. Good morning. Alexandra, good morning. Welcome in, my friend. One step closer to the weekend, Friday Eve. Friday Eve. We're going to do a little yarn chicken, I'm afraid, this morning. I have this much yarn left. So hopefully we have enough to do all of the rows of this pumpkin, but we're going to find out. Catherine, good morning. How are you? How many more sets until it's wide enough for a pumpkin? Well, that's a great question, Kate. I'm working with the medium size pumpkin. And the way that I do it is I count my wheat stitch rows. So this is the wheat stitch. When you work the wheat stitch, it's worked in a repeat of 4. So you have 2 single crochets. One's here. One is kind of tucked in, hiding here. And then you have your 2 wheat stitches. So the medium-sized pumpkin, which is what we started with last week, we chained a total of 29 chains. Okay, so that is this part right here. From here to here, we chained 29. We're going to do a total of 13 wheat rows and a total of 52. 13 times 4 is 52 is how we come up with that. So when I count this, I don't count each individual row. What I do is I just count the wheats. So I need 13 of these for the medium size. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. We're working on row number 12. So 12 of the wheat stitches. So after this group, we're going to have one more to go. But we might not have enough yarn. It might end up being a skinnier kind of pumpkin. We're going to see. It's going to be close. I have this much yarn left, and I don't want to get another whole skein. We're just going to work with what I've got here. Miss Honey, welcome in. Debbie said 2 days till Wisconsin. The countdown has begun. Cheryl, good morning. Welcome in. Angela, good morning. Jennifer G in the house. How are you, everybody? Miss Hannah is here. Hannah, how are you feeling today? Any better, my friend? Arlene, good morning. Welcome in. Valblocks is here. Oh, I see Diesel's running around in the pasture out there. I put the doggy door in this morning and he came barreling in. I heard this big crash. He didn't make it through. Sometimes he'll hit it so hard he pushes the doggy door out. He's a powerful little guy, that guy is. Little better but sore. Well, a little better, we'll take that. Hey Maya, good morning. Welcome in. Okay, so after I do my wheat stitches, the very last 2 rows that I do, actually I'm supposed to be doing 4. I went too many. Let's frog this out. Already frogging this morning, friends. That's how my morning's going so far. Hey Maggie, good morning. Happy Thursday. One step closer to the weekend. Almost there, my friends. Almost there. Leah is here. Good morning, Leah. So the last 4 stitches after I do the wheat stitch for the pumpkin are single crochets, and I do those in the back loop. So single crochets in the back loop. And you can see we have our wheat stitches. So now we're ready to turn our work. Christine, good morning. Welcome in. Vicky is here. Good morning, Vicky. Gen X Purple Heart. Hey, Jen. Good morning. Ariona, I don't know if I pronounced that right, but welcome in. Good morning. Friends, this morning we're working on the wheat stitch pumpkin. We started this last week. This is what we're looking like right now. We're making the wheat stitch here. We're on our second part of that. And we're using 2 different colorways this morning. We're using the orange, which is burnt orange, or excuse me, burnt pumpkin. And we are also using the variegated yarn, which is so pretty. This is um, Autumn Stripe. Both of them are by Hobby Lobby. Twin Stitches is working on this too. Yes, Deborah, Mama Wheeler's going to be here later today. They spent the night last night outside Little Rock. I'm sure they'll be up and getting on the road this morning, and they should be here this afternoon. So I'm very excited. I got quite a bit of housework done yesterday on my day off, but I have more to do today. So getting ready for their arrival. I don't know what time they're going to be here. It'll be sometime this afternoon. Okay, so the first 4 stitches, once again, we're doing this in the back loop with our single crochets. And now we're ready to do our wheat stitch. So we're going to skip one stitch into the next single crochet. Now we're going to come back and pick up this stitch that we missed. It's this little red guy right here. So I'm going to yarn over. We're going to do a modified puff stitch. Go down into that space all the way through, pull up a loop. Hey, Elsie, good morning. Welcome in. Marilyn, housework is a vicious cycle that never ends. I'll tell you. That's what I was saying earlier this week. There was no point in me doing mopping of the floors like on Monday because with having dogs, if any of you have dogs, you'll know how it is. I swear I mop the floor and not 2 seconds later, it is back dirty again from the dog. Same thing with dusting, right? So modified puff stitch, we're going to hold this right here. We're going to make this a little puffier. So we're going to yarn over, right back down into that same stitch, pull up another loop. Again, pull it up nice and tall. Now we have a total of 5 loops on our hook. Yarn over, pull through all 4. That leaves 2 behind, and yarn over, pull through the last 2. Because we're working this along, oh, just a Gen X girl, thank you for the heart this morning, or the rose this morning. That's beautiful. Hope you're having a good day. Crone of Crochet coming in from London. Welcome in, my friend. Welcome in. We're working on a pumpkin this morning. Oh, thank you so much for the hand hearts this morning. Jen with the finger hearts. Appreciate you, friends. Hee haw, thank you so much for the heart hands this morning. Appreciate that. Dogs are worse than kids. In a lot of ways, I think they are. At least with kids, you can be like, hey, go clean up the mess you made. If I tell Diesel to go clean up the mess he made, he looks at me like, what are you talking about, Mom? Hey, Shan, good morning. Are you back? Are you back from your trip, Shan? Okay, here we go. We're going to skip one into the next single crochet. Now we're going to come back and pick up this stitch here that we missed with that modified puff. Yarn over all the way through, grab up a loop. We're going to hold here, pull this up nice and tall, yarn over, right back down in, pull up another loop. Rachel's here. Good morning, Rachel. We're going to yarn over, pull through the first 4 loops. That will leave 2 behind on our hook. Yarn over, pull through the last 2. Stephanie said, good morning, yarn lovers. Yes, indeed. I don't like how this camera is, guys. I got to adjust this a little bit. Let me see if I can get us situated here better. I'm having a hard time seeing what I'm doing here. Let's see if this is any better. How are we looking over on YouTube? Hillary, welcome in. Good morning. Marcia, good morning. Good morning, Eartha and Crafty family. That is right. Are we okay over on YouTube? Do I need to zoom you all in a little bit? Let's see if that's any better on YT. Okay, here we go. We're going to skip one into the next single crochet. That's a little better. I can see comments better now. Okay. Now we're going to come back. We're going to pick up this stitch that we skipped. So we're going to yarn over, right back down into that stitch that we skipped all the way through, draw up a loop, pull it up nice and tall. We're going to hold this now, and we're going to make this into a puff stitch. We're going to make this a little puffier. Yarn over, right back down in, grab up another loop. Now, again, pull that up nice and tall. This is our starting loop. You can see we've added 4 additional. Yarn over. I'm going to pull this one through the first 4. Queen 530 in the house. Good morning, Queen. How are you, my friend? Thank you so much for the heart me. Okay, so now we're going to skip one into the next single crochet. Here's that stitch that we skipped. We're going to work our puff stitch into that stitch that we skipped. So right into here. Yarn over all the way through. Grab up that loop again, pull it up nice and tall. You want it to be the same size as everybody else. Hold that there, yarn over, right back down into that same stitch, pull up our loop. Now we have 5 loops, yarn over, pull this loop through the first 4. That leaves us with 2 and yarn over, pull through those last 2. That's how our little wheat stitch is looking so far. Jennifer, good morning. Welcome in. Mama C in the house. Hey, Carol, good morning. Pull that up nice and tall. Sounds like put a happy little tree right there, right? MJ, good morning. Welcome in, my friend. Okay, here we go with our happy little trees, as Carol likes to say. We're going to skip one into the next, single crochet. Now we're going to come back, pick up this stitch right here that we missed. I'm going to go right into this space under both those loops, yarn over all the way through, grab up that loop. Again, pull that up nice and tall. What I mean by pull it up nice and tall, friends, let me explain this a little better. When we go down in, when you first pull up a loop, it kind of would be like this. See how my hook wants to go up at an angle like this because this is a shorter stitch here? What I'm trying to do is pull this loop that I made up tall, and I'm trying to get my hook more horizontal to my work like this. This is that starting loop. So that's what I mean by pull it up kind of tall. That's what we're trying to accomplish here. So we're giving it a lot of room here. And then we're going to make this puffier. So we're going to yarn over, go right back down into that exact same stitch. And again, pull up another loop, pull it up tall. Now we have 5 loops on our hook, yarn over, pull this one through the first 4. Now we're down to 2 loops, yarn over, pull through those last 2. Because we're working around that single crochet, what is happening is it's forcing these puff stitches to kind of lean to the side. And that's what's giving it that really cool look and texture. T, good morning. I'm working on the pumpkin this morning. This is a pattern by Briana K. And she has 3 different sizes. I made a little cheat sheet here for myself. The large pumpkin, you chain 33. The medium pumpkin, you chain 29. And the small pumpkin, you chain 25. We're making a medium pumpkin this morning. We started this last week on the live. And we're going to do a total of 13 wheat rows, and we're going to do that equals 52. So when you work the wheat stitch, it is actually a repeat of 4 rows. You have 2 single crochets, and then you have 2 of the wheats, okay? And so I just count my wheat stitches. What I mean by that is when you look at your work, see the orange right here? This is our single crochet rows. There's actually 2 of them tucked in there if you kind of turn it, 1 and 2. Then we have a wheat stitch and a wheat stitch. So when I count mine, I don't count 1, 2, 3, 4. That's a lot of counting. I try to simplify it. So all I do is I count these big sections, 1, 2, 3, 4. We're on row number 12 right now of the wheats. We might not have enough yarn to do 13. I only have this much left. So we're going to see. I think it's going to be close. I might only do 12 of the pumpkin wheat stitches this morning for this one. He might be a little not so chubby, this pumpkin. But I really don't want to get another skein. I just want to use what I have here. Viv, good morning. Welcome in. Uh, Smiles for Sisters, good morning. Brittany, good morning. Welcome in, my friend. This is the Wheat Stitch Pumpkin that we are doing this morning. This is a free pattern by Briana K. over on YT. She is she is Queen of the Wheat Stitch. Queen of the Wheat Stitch, and her little pumpkins I just absolutely love. I've made a large one, a medium one, a small one, and now I'm making another medium one. I somehow ended up with an extra stitch, so just adjusted it, making it work. Kayla, that's what you got to do. That's what you got to do. I would have done the exact same thing, my friend. But the starting chain for the medium pumpkin is 29 if you want to do the medium size. Rebecca, good morning. We're going to skip one into the next, single crochet. Now we're going to come back and pick up this stitch here that we missed, okay? And we're going to work that modified puff. Yarn over all the way through our work, pull up that loop. Again, pull that up nice and tall. Holding, we're going to make this puffier. Yarn over, right back down into that same stitch, pull up another loop. Now we have 5 loops on our hook. Yarn over. I'm going to pull this yarn through the first 4 stitches. That leaves us 2 on our hook, and then yarn over, pull through the last 2. Skip one into the next, single crochet. Friday Eve. I know y'all are ready for the weekend, aren't you? I am too. I'm on vacation this week, but I'm doing a lot of house chores and cleaning before my mom gets here. So, still a little time for crochet. I like to do this in my mind where I do a little housework, come back, reward myself with some crocheting, do a little more housework, come back, do a little crocheting, that kind of thing. I'm like a toddler. I have to be enticed with rewards. Crochet is the reward for me. Is anybody else like that? Even as adults, you're like, okay, I'm going to do XYZ. Then I'm going to get to sit in my chair and watch a little TV. The yarn, no problem at all, Jody. I'm working with two different colorways this morning. Both yarns are I Love This Yarn by Hobby Lobby. This orange color that I'm using for my single crochets is the color Burnt Pumpkin. Burnt Pumpkin. And the variegated that I'm using is called Autumn Stripe. Both of them are from I Love This Yarn by Hobby Lobby. And the other yarn from I Love This Yarn that works really great is the oh, help me, friends. Y'all know what it is. I can't think of the name off the top of my head. It works really well as well. Cinnamon cedar. Cinnamon cedar is another fabulous choice. If you have some of that around, that would make a beautiful pumpkin as well. And you don't have to do two different colors. You could do it all with one color. So keep that in mind also. I'm doing two colors. I wanted my spines to get a little different color. Okay, let's see. Who went on a 5K here? Karina said, I'm almost done with Gracie's cardigan. Very nice. Trudy, good morning. Welcome in, my friend. Jennifer went on a 5K walk this weekend. Nice, Jennifer. I'm doing the diabetic 5K this weekend for myself. Well, that is exciting, Kate. Look at you all getting out there in this beautiful weather, getting some exercise in. All right. Uh, uh, I'm not sure I'm going to pronounce your name right. Is it Jagoda? Mitch, welcome in. Good morning, friend. We're working on a pumpkin this morning, y'all. So I have to kind of assess here. I don't think I'm going to have enough yarn to do a 13th row of the wheat stitch, but I think it'll still be fine. We're going to assess here as soon as I get done with this last row. So one more stitch of the wheat stitch here. We're going to skip a stitch into the next single crochet. Then we're going to come back and pick up this little stitch that we missed right here. And we're going to do a modified puff. We yarn over, go right down into that space, draw up a loop, pull it up nice and tall. Now we're going to hold this here and we're going to do we're going to make this puffier, another yarn over, right back down into that same stitch and pull up another loop. So now we have 5 loops on our hook. We've got our starting loop here on the right, and then we have an additional 4 loops. I'm going to yarn over. I'm going to pull this loop under the first 4 stitches right here. That leaves 2 behind, and then we're going to yarn over and pull through those last 2 stitches. And as we finish out this row here, there's a little bit of space here at the top where we're doing single crochets. And I'm working these in the back loop as we work out to the edge of the pumpkin. So kind of how this pumpkin is going to get sewn together here. If we look at this, this is how it looks right now. So this, we're going to join like this, okay? We're going to seam these 2 sides together. Once we get done here with our last row, I really don't think I have enough yarn though. I only have this much left, so I don't think we're going to do another wheat stitch row. I think we're going to call it good right here, okay? I think that's too close. I really don't think it's going to make it. And then after we get this seamed up right here, that's our next step. What we're going to do is you're going to close this at the top. You're going to squish these stitches together just like a beanie. And then at the bottom here, we're going to squish this up also, and that will be the bottom of our pumpkin, okay? And y'all, I did a crazy thing this morning. I forgot to bring my stuffing with me. I left it sitting on the couch. So I am going to have to get up here in just a minute and get the stuffing. I'll have to raise y'all up in the air. So after we finish this wheat stitch, we're going to join to this side over here where we did our single crochets. So I think what I'm going to do is join this in with the orange color. And I have been carrying my yarn. Now, the thing is, I don't really have enough orange left. I used up my whole skein. So I brought another skein out, and we're going to have to get a new yarn here. This is going to be kind of a convoluted mess, if I'm being honest. Okay, so let's see if we can get all this kind of worked out here. Get back on my hook there, mister. Let's bring in a new orange skein also. We're going to be dropping some of these colors here as we turn our work. So this is the new orange I have right here. I'm going to pull that through, kind of secure that in. So I'm going to drop all those other tails and just work with the new orange color. So what I'm going to do is let's snip off this yarn here and get this out of our way. Rita, good morning. Welcome in. I'm going to leave kind of a long tail on this, guys, in case I need to use that to close up the top of my pumpkin. Yeah, we had this much left of my skein. Definitely not enough to do another row of wheat stitches. Okay, so this is the right side of my work. Do you see how the back loop is showing up there with that line of texture? That's going to be the outside of my pumpkin. So I bring the right sides together with the wrong side facing out. And now I'm going to join these stitches in. And you can kind of use some stitch markers here if you'd like to kind of align these stitches and make sure that everything is kind of pinned into place and that everything is going to match up really nice. So I will kind of pop in some of those stitch markers, just kind of get it aligned here. Hey Lou, good morning. Kate said these videos in the morning calm me down so much before a crazy work day. Well, Kate, I'm glad to hear that. Yeah, I like to do my crochet and just kind of chill out. It gives me calmness in the morning also. Hey Debbie, good morning. So let's just put this stitch marker kind of right in here. We're going to just put these kind of sporadically through here as we line this up. You could count these stitches, but I'm not going to count. We're just going to kind of wing it. Let's get another one right through here. Kelly said, today is my Friday. Awesome, Kelly. Very exciting. Okay. Friends, I'm using an I-9 hook this morning with this yarn. This is a 4-weight yarn. Okay, so as we've turned, now you can see we have our first stitch right here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to join in the front loop right here. So I'm going to work in the front loop and I'm going to match this up to the other side and I'm going to work through both stitches of the other side. And let's just see how this looks. We'll work a few of these up. I'm just doing a slip stitch here. Okay, we're just slip stitching this together. Now, as you're making your slip stitches, these can kind of tend to get a little tightened up on you. So make sure you're giving yourself plenty of wiggle room here. I like to do kind of a little stretch test. And as I'm joining this up, the other thing I like to do is kind of turn my work inside out so I can see how that's going to look on the finished side. So if we look right here, I like to look and see how this join is looking. And as I'm looking at it, I don't like this line of texture right here. Do you see how I did that? That is because I didn't go under both loops. And I don't like how that looks. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to pull that back out. Let's go under both loops. Let's go under both loops and see if it looks a little better, a little cleaner. I always do this little assessment as I start joining, just to see how it's going to look on the nice side. Okay, so once again, slip stitch. So I'm going to go under both loops of both sides at this point is what I'm doing. So I have 2 loops here of the variegated, 2 loops of the orange, pull a loop through, slide this guy right under this guy, slip stitch. Again, make sure you're keeping these slip stitches nice and loose. You don't want them to be too tight. If you get them too tight, your pumpkin is going to scrunch up on that side and be a little lopsided. And we definitely don't want a lopsided pumpkin. Although in the real world, I think they probably are a little lopsided. This yarn I'm using this morning, friends, Debbie said this yarn is so pretty. Thank you, Debbie. This is 2 different colorways I'm using. I'm using the orange color is called Burnt Pumpkin, and the variegated is Autumn Stripe. Autumn Stripe. Both of them are, I love this yarn from Hobby Lobby. Candy Joe, welcome in. Good morning, my friend. Karina says we're taking out the low rider. Low rider. Go a little lower. Terry said you also have a calming type voice. Well, thank you, Miss Terry. I appreciate that. I sound a little gravelly sometimes first thing in the morning because I haven't really done any talking to anybody yet. I got up this morning, made my coffee, said good morning to Mr. Wheeler, gave him a kiss, sent him on his way to work, and that was about the extent of my conversating. So I know sometimes in the morning I'm a little gravelly in the voice. Liz, welcome in Central Alabama. I'm up in Rainsville, my friend, and it is a beautiful day here. Uh-oh, y'all. Diesel just knocked out the doggy door. We have a monster among us. Hopefully he'll lay down and be good. He's gotten so powerful, he's figured out if he just rams the doggy door with his head, it'll pop out. Oh, this Diesel. No, no. You're all wet. No. You guys want to see? I'll take you out. Okay, TikTok friends, I'm going to move you. I hate to give him attention because then there he is. There's the monster we're talking about. No, no. You're getting dirt all over mom. No. Okay, we're going to ignore him. He does want to be snuggled. Don't lick mom's cup. He is really big. No. Hopefully he'll go lay down and relax, you know? That's our hope. Everybody be very, very quiet. During my first trimester, your voice was so calming, I'd fall asleep. So I had to stop watching. Oh, Carrie. uh, that's pretty cute, Miss Carrie. Yeah, he's gotten really big, you guys. He's not full grown. He's still growing. But apparently he didn't want to be outside this morning, so he just welcomed himself into the house. Hey, Miss Julie, welcome in, my friend. Good morning. Okay. This is when I need, see, if I had a child, I'd be like, hey, go grab mom the stuffing. Oh, yes, Nicole, here is the seam. Let's turn this inside out. I'll show you what we're looking like. Let me pull this out. This is going to be the inside of the pumpkin. I'm working on the inside. This is what the outside is going to look like. Right here. This is where the seam is. Nice and clean. Isn't that nice? Looking good. Aniki, good morning. Welcome in, my friend. My dog used to do that with the wooden fence panels. She'd find the weakest ones and go for it. Yeah, I think I'm going to have to get maybe a stronger doggy door or something. I don't know. Most of the time he'll lay out there and just no. If you hear me say no, guys, I'm not talking to you guys. I'm talking to the dog. No. No. Off. 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 Oh, that was a lot of muddy footprints on me. No. Okay, slip stitch. It's like a 3-ring circus around here this morning, y'all. With my toddler. How old is Diesel now? Let's see, we're in September. So in October, he'll be, what, 10 months? You said no as the bot came in. Yeah, no to the bot also, Miss Leah. We do have fabulous moderators, Red Lady. How about that? They are doing all the things. Uh-oh, YouTube friends. He knocked the camera a little bit. Let's see if we can put that back up there. Sorry, y'all. Are we back on screen? He wants to make camera friends too. He does. He likes to come up. When he was really little, a lot of you guys were here for that. No, we don't want your toy. No. No. Okay, there he goes. There he goes. No. No. That doesn't mean come to the other side when mom ignores you. No. Can you see his little nose? This is how my real life is all the time, y'all. If he comes back, Teresa, I'll show you him. He just went back to his doggy door, so maybe he'll go back outside. And he did. Okay, we'll have a little peace and quiet. At least dog children don't make you sick. I'm drinking tea with honey this morning. Uh-oh. Now he brought in a flower pot. He does want to steal my yarn. Yeah, he's back, Jody. Did you hear him come in? All right. Getting closer to the end here. Working our way up the side. We're doing a little slip stitch here, friends. Closing in this pumpkin. This is the same way that I close in my beanies. Same exact thing. Okay, one more. He is excited. Hey, Eleanor, good morning. Y'all, Diesel was outside this morning, but he decided he needed to be in with us. And he's brought in a flower pot. And he's dragging it all over the house. So that noise you hear is him going a little crazy. Okay, that's our very last slip stitch there. So what we're going to do now, I can't hear myself think. I'm going to snip off here. Now we're going to give ourselves kind of a long tail here so we can weave in. Hey, Veronica, good morning. Get a puppy, they said. It'll be fun, they said. Okay. So this is what we're looking like now. Let me set this yarn to the side here. Let's inside this out. Right side it out, I guess you could say. So here's our little pumpkin now. He's pretty cute, huh? I dig it. I think it's good. This may be a short live today, friends. If you see me hopping up and down in my chair, it's because he's bumping into me. Yeah, I'm going to go across the top now to close this in. So let's wrong side it back out. Sorry, y'all. I get a little distracted when Diesel's in here, as you can tell. Bear with me here. Okay, so I'm going to take my darning needle and we're going to get the orange yarn here that we snipped off with on our needle. Okay. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of go across the top here and I kind of skip a little bit. See how there's these stitches right here that are raised up? That's what I kind of use to go across the top. So I just weave back and forth with my orange yarn that we left as a tail to close this up. Yeah, Rotties are really good dogs. Diesel is a puppy, you guys. Even though he is huge and he probably weighs 100 pounds at this point, maybe like 90 pounds, he is only 9 months old. So he is like a puppy in this big old body. And now he's in eating Mo's food, which is going to create this whole thing. Actually, Mo doesn't even care. Mo's like, just leave me alone. I'm going back to bed. Yeah, he's 9 months old. So he has the mentality of a puppy. But maybe he's like a teenager. Yeah, he's really cute. But normally he's outside during the live because he creates such a ruckus in the house that I don't bring him at. Yes, bowl in a china shop. That is exactly it. You nailed it, KK. Mo is another dog. It is short for AMMO. TT does not like it when I say that word sometimes. So, yeah, Mo is a pit bull mix, and Diesel's a purebred Rottie. Um, and Mo is like a year and a half old, but he is not nearly as rambunctious as Diesel is. He's more chill at this point. Even when Mo was little, he wasn't like how Diesel is. Okay, here we go. So I'm just weaving this back and forth, and then I'm kind of closing it up as I go along. We used to have a sticker for Mo, but they changed the amount of stickers that we have. Has he found his Roddy Rumble yet? Yeah, he does the whole talking thing, Kaz. He definitely does. He likes to talk. He especially likes to talk to Mr. Wheeler. He likes to talk back. When he doesn't get his way, he he does his little grumbling. The Roddy Rumble, as it's known as. Okay, so we're going to pull this all the way closed now. And I'm going to tie these two strings together so we can kind of get this cinched up nice and tight. Now I do still have kind of a little bit of a space here. If you want to put a cinnamon stick in there, you would just slide it in there and it's not going to be, you wouldn't close that up all the way. I'm going to make this the top of my pumpkin. So that is where I'm going to put my little cinnamon stick. So I'm just going to weave these tails in a little bit more and then snip one of these off. But I'm not going to snip it off quite yet. I'm going to leave these tails kind of attached to my work because we're going to stuff it with the stuffing and then we're going to close in the top. Hey, Stacy, good morning. Welcome in. Queen 530, have a great weekend. Thanks for hanging out, my friend. Yeah, we have that, Daisy. AMMO, and diesel. But, it's one of those things you hear me out on the front deck when I'm calling for them and I'm yelling AMMO at the top of my lungs to get, and I'm sure the neighborhood thinks that I'm like a little bit cray cray. Let's just put it that way. Okay. So once again, I'm going to leave these tails attached for now because we might need those later on. Now let's put the right side back out. Yeah, I'm yelling AMMO and diesel at the top of my lungs to get the dogs to come back in. You know, it's one of those things. Okay, so friends, I forgot to bring my stuffing with me. I need to get out of my chair and go uh, get my stuffing. Okay, so that we can stuff this pumpkin. So I'm just gonna lift you up here, and I'll be right back. All right, 1 second. Let's try to get. My brother had a dog named Ruger. Okay, so here's our little pumpkin. We closed in the one side, so now I'm just going to put some stuffing here in the other side. I need to pull these tails out so that they're accessible. You see why I need calm crocheting in the morning, y'all? No. This is who's creating the chaos. That little guy right there. Mr. Chaos himself. Yeah, that's Diesel making all the noise, you guys. That's the little guy. He's not really little anymore, y'all. But he has the mentality of a 3-year-old still. I'll tell you that. He busted through the doggy door. Normally he's outside when we're on the live because I have a hard time like dealing with him. He's hard to control and whatnot. So, all right, here's where our pumpkin is. We've got kind of our stuffing in here. So now what we're going to do is we're going to use these other strands that I had where we snipped off, and we're going to use these to weave in and close the top side of our pumpkin, or the bottom, whichever. I think this is going to be the bottom. Oh, bring your mic back. Thank you, Amanda. So sorry. Thank you, Jennifer. Jennifer was the one that said that. I lifted up my mic to go get the stuffing, and then I forgot to bring it back to me. And you all can't hear me. All you hear is Diesel raising a ruckus. Thanks for the reminder. I get thrown off my game. So we're making a wheat stitch pumpkin this morning. This is a free pattern by Briana K. You can find this over on YouTube. She does 3 different sizes, okay? Large, medium, and small. This morning we're making the medium. I chained 29. But if you want the small, you're going to do 25, medium 29, large 33. Then for the small, you do 9 wheats, which is a total of 36 rows. So when I look at the pumpkin, what I call the wheat is this row right here. But when you actually do the wheat stitch, you have 2 rows. You have single crochet, then you have 2 rows of the wheat. So it's 4 rows that comprise the stitch. So instead of counting 36 of them, I just count how many wheats there are. So I normally the medium calls for 13. I didn't have enough yarn. I just did 12 rows of this wheat. But for the medium, you would do 13. 13 times 4 is 52 is how you come up with the total number of rows. If you're going to do the very large pumpkin, you're going to have 17 wheat rows, which is a total of 68. 17 times 4 is 68. Hey, Tony Ann, good morning. Tony Ann, Diesel busted through the doggy door this morning, so we're having kind of a little chaotic live this morning in true Diesel fashion. I'm going to tuck in some of these tails that I don't need. We're just going to stick them here on top and get them out of sight, out of mind. We don't even need these. We're just going to tuck them in. Okay. So now using the same technique that I used along the bottom, I'm just going to work along these stitches, kind of space them out, and we're going to weave up the top of our pumpkin and close it up. Yeah, we're having Diesel chaos this morning. He just took his big old head and pushed through the doggy door and popped it out. I had it latched pretty good too. But that's just the way it goes. And I'm not going to let it get me all upset because I'm on vacation and there's not much that bothers me when I'm on vacation, y'all. Y'all are like that? April is on vacation. She is checked out and does not care about much. Guys, if you missed how to make the first part of this pumpkin, we did it live last week. I think last Thursday. And you can find a replay over on my YouTube. Also, the pattern maker is Briana K, and she has an amazing tutorial on YouTube. So Briana K is who is queen of the wheat stitch. These wheat stitch pumpkins are her pattern, and they are fabulous. I encourage y'all to go check her out, Briana K, on YouTube, and you can watch a full tutorial of how to make these pumpkins. They're extremely popular this time of year. And I'm using two different colorways for this pumpkin. The orange is called Burnt Pumpkin. The variegated, this color right here that you see changing, is called Autumn Stripe. The other one that looks really nice with this, if you have it, is Cinnamon Cedar. Cinnamon Cedar is also a beautiful color for pumpkins. If you've got that chilling around your stash, your yarn stash, check that one out too if you don't want to get the Autumn Stripe. Both of them look fabulous. And of course, the Burnt Pumpkin is a nice accent. But you don't have to do it in two-tone like we did. You could do it just in a single color as well. I did it with a solid orange, and that looked really nice. So use your imagination. Some people do them also with non-traditional colors as well. I've seen some like blue and silver pumpkins that look so cool. So feel free to let your imagination run wild. Some people have very specific decor around their house and colors. And yeah, they look great with all the different colors. Okay, so we've made it all the way back around here. I'm going to tighten this up again. And I have my other strand that we started here. So I'm going to tie these two strands together and kind of get this tightened up. SLB, I carried my yarn. I carried my yarn as we worked the two colors. And you can see me doing that over on my YouTube from last week. So now what I want to do, friends, is I want to try to tighten this center of our pumpkin up even more. Also, before you close this up, this is your chance to kind of assess if you have enough stuffing for your pumpkin. If you feel like he's a little flat or lopsided, then add some more stuffing before you close up your hole, okay? So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to close this up a little bit. But the other thing I want to do is I want to take my yarn and I'm going to try to push it all the way through and make this kind of poke in at the top and give it that pumpkin shape, right? So when we do that, it'll create some tension on the top and allow it to look kind of more like a little pumpkin, if you can envision that. So step one, let's go ahead and weave in the rest of this tail and see if we can get this hole closed up a little bit nicer on the bottom. I used Brighton Road Instant Classic. I'm not familiar with that yarn. Don't encourage me about yarn, Candy Joe. I'm supposed to be being good and not buying any new yarn. I'm trying to use up a lot of my stash. We're going to be working on a lot of blankets and stuff this fall for donation. I've pretty much finished all the county fair projects. I have we still have to do the market bag handles. I might try to do some of that this weekend. I hate making handles. I think I'm going to do Maggie's what is that called where Maggie does her handles? You guys know which one I mean? Tunisian. I might try to do some Tunisian handles. I saw another great tip. If you see your stuffing, you can use brown knee highs to stuff the stuffing. That is a great idea too. Um, I really like that idea, Jody. That's a great tip. Thank you for sharing that. Cheston says I hate making handles too, right? I think a lot of us. I have a lot of bags that are started that all they need is the handles, and I just can't bring myself to work on them. I don't like doing them. So I should be disciplined and finish those, but I'm not very disciplined. And they're just hanging out and not getting finished. I've moved on. I have moved on, but oh well. Okay, a few more times around with this green. Actually, that's probably good with the green. Okay, let me weave this orange color in a little bit. I like these to be nice and secure so they don't like pop out, you know? Want this nice and tight. All right, here we go. Let's go around with this color a little bit. This is going to look nice on my entertainment center, I think. I don't have another pumpkin stem. I'm going to use a cinnamon stick. Or I might just go outside and find a stick to use. Also, we have a bunch of trees and stuff, and that might look nice also. Hey, Carla, good morning. Welcome in. Hi, Victoria. We're working on the pumpkin today, friends. We're closing it up. Today's the last day of the pumpkin madness. We could do another pumpkin at a later point too, if you guys want me to do another one and kind of work that on the live. We can try to work that into the schedule, but I feel like right now I need kind of a pumpkin break. I'm pumpkined out. I'm pumpkined out. So we're gonna get this one closed up. It's kind of nice to see these projects come together, you know. Okay. Hey, Becky, good morning. Will Diesel steal the stick? He absolutely will try to, Amanda. Yesterday he carried in a 6-foot stick. So, yeah, he definitely is all about the sticks. That's what he does. Pumpkin and puppy. Yeah, that's what we're having today. Okay, so there is the bottom of our pumpkin. Again, just kind of work your stuffing around to kind of get it the shape that you want it to be. So now what I want to do, this is the top of our pumpkin right here, guys. And I left a hole here where I'm going to put the stick to be the pumpkin top. Okay. So I have to get my longer darning needle that I have. I like this little guy for weaving in when I do this pumpkin top because it's longer. So what we do is I'm going to take this string, this yarn, and put it on my bigger darning needle. Okay. This is already tied and secured on the top. We already wove this in. But what I want to do is I'm going to kind of go through the stitches here, and I'm going to put this needle, feel your way all the way through my pumpkin. Okay. And we're going to pull this kind of tight like this. What is that string? Oh, that's the bottom of my string. I'm like, what is that string doing there? It's the other side. Duh. Okay, so you pull this kind of tight with your bottom. And then I just kind of pick another spot here on the pumpkin and I go back down through, and I'm going to push this all the way up through the top of the pumpkin. This kind of hurts my fingers sometimes when we're doing it because it's tight. Okay. And give this a little pull. And we're going to do this a few times, getting this pumpkin topper to go in the middle here. So back through. You kind of have to feel through that stuffing sometimes, guys, and it is a little challenging sometimes. Okay. So I just keep pulling this until you get it as tight as you want it or the shape that you want it, however indented, right? After you do it a couple times, it'll start to tighten up on itself. And then you can see it's kind of in that shape. I don't even have to really like hold it anymore. But we definitely need to secure this in a few more times. So let's go back down through. I bought a 12-inch needle just for that kind of stuff. It works great. Yeah, that would work great. Okay, so once I get it, I still have my other strand that we were working with. I'm just going to tie these two in a knot here and kind of make sure that that is secure. Okay, then what you can do, you can weave this in some more, or you can just tuck in your tails to the inside of your pumpkin. Either way works totally fine. We're just going to cheat this morning. We're just going to tuck them in and kind of get those. You could snip this off too. It doesn't need to be so long, right? You don't need it that long. Just tuck in this little tail. Okay, so my little stem is going to go right there. We can take off our stitch marker now since we're done. Same thing with these sides here. We can just tuck these in. Let's snip this off a little bit so it's not quite so long. And let's see if we can get this tucked in. I might have to actually do this with the yarn and pull it through, which is fine. We're just going to go like out the side right here. If you pull it a little tight, what'll happen is it'll just suck back into your pumpkin, which works perfect. Okay, let's do this one. Same thing. Get this out of our vision here. Okay. So that is our little pumpkin. Let me move this stuffing out of my way here, friends. Oh, no. I dropped it on the floor. Hopefully Diesel doesn't like want to play with it. He's settled down now, you guys. Leave it. So this is the top of our pumpkin. Did you ever imagine 400 of, wow, there's 400 here? No, Jody, I never imagined in my wildest dreams that 400 people would be sitting here watching me make a pumpkin. It's kind of wild when you stop and think about it. But look how cute it turned out, you guys. Like they were saying, if you don't like how the white shows through, no, 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 no. Go drink out of your water bowl. You don't have to lick my glass. So this is the bottom of our pumpkin. This is the top. I'll put like a stick right through there. But really cute, right? I love him. I love him, y'all. Sorry, I probably have missed a ton of comments, friends, also today. But just to recap, this colorway right here is Autumn Stripe, and the orange is the burnt pumpkin color. I love this yarn from Hobby Lobby. I can't wait to go find a stick. I can't wait to find a stick and go put it in the top right here. I think it's going to be awesome. I wish I had a stick next to me, but I don't. Anyhow, What do you think? Pretty cool, right? I love it. I think they're so much fun. I'm proud of my little pumpkin. I think he turned out cute. He is kind of lopsided if you look at him. This side right here is a little higher, but I guess that's just the way that pumpkins are. I think he looks cute. Yay. So, all right, we can work on some more stuff. It's only 8:30. So, we worked on the wheat stitch scarf yesterday. I'm almost done with the wheat stitch scarf, guys. I only have like one and a half more rows to go. But this is the same pattern that we worked with the pumpkin. This is the wheat stitch scarf. We could work on that. We could work on the fall blanket. We could work on a beanie that I started that I don't like, that I need to frog the whole thing out. I started this beanie this morning. It's too chunky, it's too big, it doesn't have enough like um give to it. It's really I need to frog the whole thing and I need to make it with a lesser strand. Let's work on this. Do you guys want to work on this hat? I have to basically start it over. A wheat stitch hat. Let's if y'all are down, let's work on the hat this morning. Does that sound like fun? Other than the frogging part, I'm kind of burnt out on my wheat stitch scarf. Like I said, it's almost done, but I'm not really feeling it right now. So, the hat, I found in my stash this yarn right here. I don't even know if this yarn is still available, guys, but this is leave it. He's got the stuffing. I might have to get up and get the stuffing. Anyhow, this is Loops and Threads. And like I said, I don't even know if they still have this yarn. What is this colorway? Jungle Camouflage. Isn't it nice though for a hat? I like it. I know Marcia said yell for Diesel to go get you a stick. He actually has a stick here in the house. I could get it. I like this colorway though. All right, let's do the hat. And I really like this. So what I put it with when I worked on it this morning, I had 2 skeins of this. So we have 2 different options. I got to get this stuffing from the dog, you guys. Hang on. Sorry, I got to somebody remind me to put my microphone back down. 1 second. I got to get this. I got to get this stuffing away from him before he starts eating it. Check, 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 check. Testing. 1, 2. Welcome in to another Crazy Wheeler Live, where we're up and down out of our chair, dealing with the dog, doing all the crazy stuff this morning. And Diesel wants to say hello, friends. All right, here you go. Here's the troublemaker right there. That's who's causing all the trouble. That dog right there. Nobody. Go lay down. Go lay down. You wanted to be in the house. You have to try to behave. Okay? No. All right, where did my hat go, y'all? We have to frog this. Well, I guess I could just sacrifice this yarn and cut it off and start over. Maybe that's a better plan. But I should frog this yarn because it is good yarn, and I hate to be wasteful. I don't know. It seems like it's going to get all tangled up. I'm thinking we snip it. Frog it or snip it? Do we frog it or snip it, guys? What are you feeling this morning? I'm feeling like let's just snip it and move on with crocheting and not frog all this. I have extra yarn. It's not a big thing if I don't use it. It's satisfying to frog it. All right, all right. Look at you all being so disciplined. That's fine. Just snip it. Oh, I'm seeing a lot of snips now. A lot of snippety snips. Frog it later. Frog, but that's just me. I know the disciplined me, Michelle, says that I should frog it and not waste the yarn. Okay, I'm going to be good. I'm going to frog it. I'm going to frog it. And hopefully it doesn't get all like tangled up and a big, you know what, mess. Insert the adjective here. Let me move these to the side because this is all tangled up. Let's at least start with a clean slate. I'm going to make a hat, Des, but I don't like how it is right now. So I'm going to frog what I have and we're going to make one from scratch and make it good. At least that's what we're going to attempt to do. But my yarn is all tangled up. So I'm trying to get it untangled from my other projects here. Okay, let's put this stuff to the side and get that out of the way. Okay, clean slate. So let's put our yarns down here. This is the yarn that we're going to use. Loops and threads, I have 2 of these, and then I'm putting it with a brown. This one is Jungle Camouflage. Okay, so let's do the frogging. Here we go. Y'all wanted to see me frog, that's what it is. It is satisfying to frog something though, don't you think? I'm not going to make a ball. Skills, I'm not going to make a ball. I'm just going to put it here in a pile beside me because I'm going to reuse that. What is frogging? Rhinestone, when you frog something, basically I'm ripping out my stitches. And you know how a frog goes ribbit, ribbit? When you rip something out of your work, we call it frogging, like rip it, ribbit, ribbit. So we call it frogging. Fast pull, too late. Too late for the pull. I'm already mid frog. I'm already feeling froggy, y'all. We're frogging it out. It's good not to be wasteful, right? We're going to have a big mess on our hands, though. Hey, Dana, good morning. Dana, you're here just in time for frogging. I am, as you all know, the expert frogger. I started this hat this morning, but the reason I don't like it is it's too thick through here. It's too rigid. So instead of doing 2 skeins of the green yarn, I'm just going to do 1 skein with the brown. Funny definition, though. I mean, I think that's why it's called frogging. Does anybody else have a different theory of why it's called frogging? I really think that's why, is because of how you rip the stitches out. If I do this strategically, it should work out okay. And I shouldn't end up with too much of a mess on my hands, but we're going to see. Worst case scenario, if it gets all messed up, we will snip it. And almost there. Okay. 70% said frog it. So I guess I did the right thing. We're stuck right here together, though. What's going on right here? We got a little fuzzy linking us together right here. Okay. So instead of doing 3 strands, what I want to do is only use 2 strands. I'm going to use 1 strand of the color and 1 strand of the brown is kind of what I'm thinking. So as I'm using this, I'm going to have to like separate these out, but I think it'll be all right. Okay, so I'm going to leave myself a long tail here, friends. Yeah, I was crocheting with 3 strands. I'm going to do 2 strands now. Okay, so I'm going to do 2 strands. And let me move this just a smidge. All right, so that we can make sure we can see this all right. I feel like my camera is not secure. Oh my gosh, I just broke my nail, you guys. What the? Oh my goodness. That's going to catch on every yarn. Hang on, I got to do nail work now. Plug your ears if you don't like nail filing. All right, we're back with one shorter nail. Okay, I am going to use a K hook, a K 10.5, if I can find it, that is. That's my I-9. Where is he? Here he is. I found him. I found him. It has been a morning, hasn't it? Welcome to my chaos. Okay, guys, we're going to leave a long strand here. When you do the wheat stitch is worked in increments of 2. And we're going to make a beanie. I'm going to start making a chain, bearing in mind I need to keep it divisible by 2. Okay, so we're going to chain. I'm going to chain 38 to start with. Let's count these. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. This might be worse than I think it's going to be because of this green. Hang on, this is all tangled up. I should have just snipped it. Y'all, I should have just snipped it. I'm not dealing with this. I'm not going to deal with this, friends. Hang on. We're going to do this. I'm done. I'm done messing around. Da, 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 da. I can't win. I can't win. This is the yarn, guys. Loops and Threads. I don't know if they still sell this. I had this in the stash. And it is called Jungle Camouflage. Jungle Camouflage. As I said, welcome into my chaos, my crochet chaos. It's not all rosy and butterflies and rainbows and sunshine here sometimes. Sometimes you just got to do the snipping. Right, Veronica? Does it feel like Monday around here? All right, here we go. Let's chain 38. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38. I guess I should ask, is 38 divisible by 2? I don't even know if it is. Hey, Sammy, good morning. Karen, welcome in. Good morning. 600KJ, welcome in. Good morning. Good morning. Kristen, good morning. Amy, have a great day at work. Y'all, it's a little crochet and chaos this morning here. All right. Diesel, first thing this morning, decided he was not going to be outside. He busted through the doggy door. He is inside and he creates his own element of chaos. All right. He is now jumping around with Diesel or with Mo. And there, if you hear a bunch of random dog noises, that is what is happening. In the meantime, I'm trying to crochet. I totally messed up my entire project this morning and I'm starting over. Okay. So we're going to make a beanie. Any even number is divisible by 2. You see, Leah, I think on a normal day, I should have known that, right? But on today, the crochet and chaos day, I had to question myself. Okay, so more importantly than the divisible, I mean, that's important too. But the other aspect we need is we need to think about the size that we're going to do. Yes, Tony Ann, thank you. Crochet and chaos with Wheeler. That's what's happening this morning, y'all. So as we work the wheat stitch for the beanie, we have to think about what size beanie do we want to make. And we have a little handy dandy chart here that I printed out a while back. You can find any of these charts. Just put in Google crochet beanie hat sizes, and one of these little charts will come up. And so if we look at a large adult, hat circumference 21 to 22 inches, crown width, I don't really care about that as much. That's going to be accomplished itself. But this magic number right here, I do care about. Hat height, 8.5 to 9 inches. Now, an adult medium is 8.5 to 8 inches, 8 to 8.5. So, what that means is if we look at a beanie, and I don't even have a beanie next to me to show me, but pretend this is a beanie, okay? This is the top of the beanie. This is the base of the beanie. From here to here, the very top, like if you had a pom pom, that is what the hat height is, the 8.5 by 9. Does that make sense? So when I'm crocheting this, the chain, this is going to be the brim of the beanie. This over here is going to be the top of the beanie, or vice versa. Okay. So it's going to crochet up like this. Now, I'm also going to flip up because I want a brim on this beanie. So it's going to fold in half, kind of like this. Right. So this is going to be the brim. This would be the top, like if you had a pom pom. So what I am measuring as I'm making this, I make sure it's divisible by 2. And then I'm looking after I fold up my brim, I kind of estimate like how much is that brim going to be? Okay, so can you kind of see how the brim is there? I measure this and make sure that it's within the range that I want it to be. So it's about 9 inches. So that's how I know that this is a good size when I get done crocheting it. Does that make sense to everybody how I determine that? How we come up with that number? So in this case, it was 38 chains. Now I'm going to chain 1. This chain that I just made is not going to be counted in the work. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn and I'm going to work back into these chain stitches that I just made with a single crochet. This chain does not count, so I'm going to work into the second loop from my hook. Melissa said, it makes sense. I don't even know how to crochet. Well, there you go. You're already learning, Melissa. How about that? Or Miss Lissa, excuse me, Miss Lissa. And I'm going to crochet a single crochet into that back bump. So what that means when you look at crochet stitches, guys, there's 2 sides of the chain. The one side looks like sideways V's. Do you see the little sideways V there? That little shape? If we turn it to the back, you have what is called the back bump, back loop. I think most people call it the bump. But see how I've got 2 strands because I'm crocheting with 2 strands, but that is the back bump. That is what I am working my crochet hook under, and that leaves this really pretty nice finished edge to be showing. Okay, so into the back bump, I slide my hook underneath, and I'm going under both strands because we're double stranding it this morning. And then I do my single crochet, and I'm going to continue working that all the way down my chain as we work this. Now, if you prefer to do a foundation chain, you can totally do that. I'm kind of old school and I do it the traditional where I chain and then work a single crochet back into it. If you're high tech and fancy in your crochet and you want to do that, by all means, that is totally cool. All right. You're just more savvy and cool than I am. I call it the back bump. It looks more like a bump than a loop to me. Yes, thank you, Amanda. I fully agree. This yarn is discontinued. Okay, well, it was probably caught on clearance. Y'all know me. I'm a little cheap, a little frugal with my yarn. If I can catch it on sale on clearance, I'm all about it. I'm all about the yarn. I'm kind of surprised I haven't gotten the puzzle piece yet this morning. I don't think I got the puzzle piece yesterday at all. As a matter of fact, now that I'm thinking about it. Um So, anyhow, keep working your single crochets all the way down. We are going to make a wheat stitch beanie this morning. All right. And, I'll crochet here for a while. I do not have to work today, guys. I'm on vacation. So we're using two strands this morning. I'll kind of go until I, uh, kind of feel like I'm done with my crocheting, but we'll see how much of this little beanie I can get done this morning. All right, Brianne, welcome in. Good morning. You had to try twice yesterday. Oh, that's right, Candy Joe. I did have to try twice on the puzzle yesterday. Look at you all with your good memories. I don't even remember what I did 10 minutes ago, let alone what I did yesterday. Right? I think they call that CRS. The brown that I'm using, guys, if you are wondering, is I love this yarn, and it is, I believe, the colorway brown. I love this yarn brown, just plain old brown. And then the other yarn that I'm putting with it is discontinued, but it's just a shiny yarn that I had in my stash. So I'm using two strands this morning to make it more of a chunky beanie rather than a lighter weight beanie. Okay. So I just am putting a 4-weight strand together. I think this one is a 4-weight also. So I'm putting two strands of 4-weight together. But this is the colorway Jungle Camouflage, but it is discontinued by Loops and Threads. But it's just kind of a pretty yarn. It's got lots of fuzzy. It feels like a beanie to me, It feels like a beanie color. And then I think putting it with brown is going to be kind of a nice little accent. So that's kind of what I'm doing. We're using a K10.5 hook this morning. Somebody help me out with millimeters. Is that a 6.5 millimeter? I'm terrible with the millimeter sizes, but it's a K10.5. Okay, we're to our very last stitch. Now what we're going to do is chain one, and we're going to turn our work. 7 millimeter. Thank you, Jen. Look at that, Jen. She is amazing, right? Um, okay, now this chain that I just made does not count as our stitches. And I'm going to be working into the back loop as we work across. Thank you, guys. Thank you, mods, for taking care of the chat. I appreciate you this morning. We're getting a lot of spam in the chat, guys, and the mods are trying to take care of that as quickly as we can. So thank you for your patience. How about a round of applause for our moderators who do such an incredible job? Aren't they amazing? They keep us all safe here. All the things. All the things. Okay, so this single crochet that I did, or the chain, does not count. We're going to work into our stitch here, and I'm going to work into the back loop, and I'm going to do a single crochet. So once again, as we look at our crochet stitches, it looks like a sideways V here. Normally, when you work the stitches, you're going to work under both the front loop and the one that is the back loop. So the one that is facing me here, right here, is called the front loop. The one that is away from me is the back loop. We're going to work just in that back loop, and we're going to do a single crochet all the way down each and every stitch as we work along. Okay, so the way that the wheat stitch is formed, the wheat stitch beanie, you're working with a total of 4 rows that repeat. You're going to have 2 single crochets, one single crochet, and then one in the back loop. Then you're going to have 2 of the wheat stitches. So there it is comprised by a total of 4 repeating rows. So this is the second row of the repeat. When you first make your chain, it does not count as anything, okay? It's only when you start doing your single crochets that that counts as a row. Boy, I like how that gold is looking with the brown. Doesn't it look fancy? Looks so nice. So again, I'm going under both those um, yarns because we're working with 2 strands, but I'm only working in the back loop. And what that does is it leaves behind this really cool line of texture as we work across. And it kind of makes it almost look like a little V as we're doing it. Okay. Uh-oh, did I do something, Leah? I missed it. I missed it. Whatever happened, I missed it. Liliana, thank you so much. Welcome in, my friend. Is everybody ready for the weekend? Are we ready for the weekend? I am so ready for my mom to be here, y'all. She's going to be here this afternoon. I can't spend all day crocheting. I do have some more chores to do, and they'll be here sometime this afternoon, but I am so excited. They stayed last night outside of Little Rock. So, however long it takes to get from Little Rock to me, I think last time they got here like around 3-ish, but don't quote me. I don't remember exactly what the time frame was. So it's what time is it now? It's 9 o'clock now. And I've still got to do the floors. At least our little puppy dog has chilled out. He's sleeping, I think, now. So he does wear himself out, and that is a good thing. And now we can get on with some nice and quiet crocheting. We'll see how long it lasts. Okay, for the last stitch right here, guys, I like to go under both the front loop and the back loop. If you prefer just to stay with the back loop, you totally can do that as well. But I go under both with my single crochet. Okay, so the first 2 rows of our repeat are done. So now what we're going to do is we're going to start working the wheat stitch. But we have to do a little mathematics again this morning. And let's talk through this a little bit. Yeah, Kristen. Oh, it's already your weekend, Kristen. Lucky girl. Lucky, lucky. Yeah, it's going to be fun. We always like to hang out. Michael's has 30% off yarn. They didn't stay in Arizona very long this summer. So my mom has a lung thing, a medical lung thing, and she is on oxygen full time when she has to be in Arizona. So when they're staying in Prescott, the elevation is 6,000 feet, which is really high. And that does a whole thing to your breathing. And when they're down in Florida, she breathes a lot better and doesn't she can kind of come on and off the oxygen as needed. So it was hard for her to be at the 6,000 elevation in Arizona. And I think they're anxious to get back to Florida. They like both places, but I think that breathing thing has really made it so that they're ready to come back. Okay, so what we're going to do now, Kayla, we're making a beanie. We're going to chain one and we're going to turn our work. So here's how I think about my beanies, okay? As I made the chain, we left a big long tail here at the very beginning. As I'm thinking about constructing this, I want this tail to be at the top of my beanie. That way I can use it to close the top of my hat. What I don't want to do is make this the top of my beanie because then I have this tail that would be kind of obvious down here at the brim of my hat. So I try to think this thoroughly through as I am working my crochet hat. Okay. So this is going to be the top of my hat. Now, when I do the top of my hat, I like to have 5 single crochets before I do the wheat stitch. So let's get our stitch markers and we're going to math some of this out. Here's the first stitch, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So again, this is the crown of my beanie. And these 5 stitches right here, I am designating right now, you shall be single crochets. Now, as we work the wheat stitch is worked in pairs. So what we are going to do is, this is our brim of our crown of our beanie. I'm going to count this out: 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, and so on. Keeping in mind, as we get down here to this side, I want this to fold up and become the brim. Where I'm going to do the brim is also going to be single crochets. Okay, so that is our mission right now. We're going to designate how many wheat stitches I'm going to do, keeping in mind that they work in pairs. So here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So this right here is the wheat stitches. This right here, I dub the single crochets. From here down will be single crochets. This is where this will fold up and become the brim. Okay. So again, we want to now use our tape measure and make sure that that logic is still kind of working mathematically. We wanted the very top of our hat to the brim of our hat to be about 9 inches. So here we go. We're about 9.5. So it's kind of like an adult large, extra large. It can go up even higher, right? Fold it. But it's kind of in that range, is what I'm trying to shoot for. Okay. So here's the brim. If we fold it up, it works out to be about like right there. So we're right on track with our stitch counts. Okay. So now that I have put in my stitch markers, I keep in mind as I work these stitches up how we're going to place these on our hat. Okay, so here we go. We chained one. The chain one does not count. Turn our work. From here to here, we're going to do single crochets in the back loop in the back loop only. Okay, so this one does not count. Looking at our stitches, here's that little V. Put my hook under the back loop, and I pull up a loop. Now, I want this to be kind of loose through here. This is going to be the brim of our hat. And so we want to make sure we have ample stretch available here as we work these stitches up so that it's not too tight. Once we get to the stitch marker, that is where we're going to transition and work our wheat stitches that are worked in the pairs. Does everybody see how I'm calculating that and how I'm figuring it all out? So this is our very last of our single crochets. I'm going to put in my single crochet. I'm going to put my stitch marker right back in so I know where that section is. Again, this is going to be the brim that flips up on the very bottom of our hat. Okay. Are you going to put a hook marker on it to remind me of your hook size? I will, Arlene. Give me just a few minutes. Let's get some more rows going here so we kind of have a place to put it. So here we go. Now we're going to work that wheat stitch. This is the stitch we've been working the last couple weeks. Y'all are probably sick of seeing it, but there are some new people that have not seen it yet. So the way we do is we skip the first stitch. Into the next stitch, we're going to do a single crochet. And I'm going to go under both the front and back loop for this single crochet. Then what we're going to do is we're going to come back here and we're going to pick up this stitch that we skipped. See him chilling right here? I'm going to go under both loops into that space and I'm going to make my modified puff stitch. So I yarn over, go down through the space, draw up a loop, and we want to pull this up nice and tall so it's the same height as our other stitches. Then we're going to yarn over, go right back down in. We want this to be a puff stitch, so we're adding some bulkiness here to our yarn. Now we have a total of 5 loops. Now bear in mind when I say 5 loops, we're actually using 2 strands of yarn. So in truth, if you were using 2 strands and you go to count this, you're going to have a total of additional stitches there. You're going to have double that because we're using a double strand. But we're going to yarn over and pull through the first 4, or in this case 8 strands of yarn. And we're leaving the last 2 behind. So we leave these little 2 here, which is really just 1 stitch. And then we have 1 more on our hook. Yarn over and pull through those last 2 stitches. So once again, skip 1 into the next, single crochet under both loops. Now here we go into this stitch that we skipped right here. We're going to do our modified puff. So there's the little space right there. Put our yarn through, our hook through, grab up our loop, pull it up nice and tall. Now we're going to hold this and we're going to beefy this stitch up. So yarn over, right back down in, grab up another loop. So now we have our total of 5 loops on our hook. I'm double stranding, so of course I'm going to have 10, but we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yarn over, we're going to pull this underneath the first 4 stitches. Now we're down to 2 stitches, yarn over, pull through the last 2. As we work these wheat stitches around that single crochet, it forces them to kind of fall to the side. And that is what is giving it this really cool look of this stitch. So once again, we're making a beanie this morning, KK. We're making a beanie. We just got started with it. And this is the wheat stitch beanie. We're going to skip one into the next, single crochet. Again, I'm working under both loops. Now we have to come back and pick up this stitch that we missed. See it sitting right here? We're going to go into that space right underneath those two loops. So yarn over, right down in all the way through, and pull up a loop. Pull this up nice and tall. Yarn over, right back down in. We want to make this a puff stitch. So we got to add a little more weight to it. Okay. Yarn over, pull this one under the first 4 stitches. Now we're left with 2 stitches on our hook. Yarn over, pull through the last 2 stitches. Skip one into the next, single crochet. Carly, it does not matter if you yarn over or yarn under. The only thing that matters is do it consistently. I am a yarn under gal. Okay. So I do not do a yarn over. Um, it's just how I learned to crochet, but it does not matter if you do a yarn over or a yarn under. And if anybody needs an explanation on that, let me know. I can explain the difference between a yarn under and a yarn over. But for those that are experienced crocheters, I do a yarn under. Okay, so yarn over. This is a yarn over. The yarn is coming over the top of my hook. I'm going to go in that stitch right there that we skipped. Okay, and I go all the way through, grab up that yarn, pull it up nice and tall, and we're going to hold right here. Now we're going to make our puff stitch. Yarn over, right back down in, grab up a loop. Again, pull that up nice and tall. Now we have a total of 4 stitches on our hook. Here's our, 5. We've added 4 additional here. Yarn over, I'm going to pull this one through those first 4 stitches, leaving behind the last 2. So we're left with 2 stitches on our hook. Yarn over, pull through the last 2. Skip one into the next, single crochet. Now yarn over, we're going to do our puff stitch right through here, yarn over, right down in, grab up that loop, pull it up nice and tall. One more time, yarn over, right back down through, grab up another loop, yarn over, pull this one through the first 4 stitches. Now we're left with 2, yarn over, pull through those last 2 stitches. That's how our little wheat stitch is forming. Now this is one side of the wheat stitch. So when we look at the stitch, I do have a scarf right here that we're also working on. We worked on the scarf yesterday on the live. I do not always work with 2 strands of yarn. Most of the time, I only work with 1 strand, but it depends. Like on this beanie, I wanted it to be a little bulkier. This is done with 1 strand of 4 weight, but you can see right here, see how this wheat stitch is formed right here? This is the row that we're making right now. So we had our single crochet, then we did our back loop. We're working this one right here. When we turn our work and come back the other direction, that's when we're going to get the other half of our wheat stitch formed. Okay. Then after we do this wheat stitch, we're going to carry on with our single crochets. So this is just a larger piece of fabric of what we're making right now. But this is a wheat stitch scarf that we have going. Let me put this to the side here. Okay. So here we go once again. Thank you, Michaela. It is turning out really nice, the little scarf. We're going to skip one into the next, single crochet. Now this is the stitch that I skipped right here. This is the wrong side of the wheat stitch right now, Teresa. We're working on the wrong side. So the first row of your wheat stitch will be the wrong side, and then when you turn it, it'll be the right side of your work. And I'll show you how to identify that as soon as we flip this over. Yarn over, right back down in, pull up a loop, pull it up nice and tall. Holding this, we're going to beefy this stitch up, yarn over, right back down in, grab up another loop. We're going to yarn over, pull through the first 4 stitches, leaving the last one on our hook here. Now we're down to 2. Yarn over and pull through 2. Skip one into the next, single crochet. Now we're going to pick up this stitch here that we missed, yarn over, right back down in, pull up that loop, nice and tall. yarn over one more time, pull up your loop, yarn over, pull through the first 4 stitches on your hook, leaving this one behind. So now we're down to 2, and yarn over and pull through 2. The colorway of this scarf is called, um, what is it called? I'm drawing a blank on what that colorway is. One of the mods probably knows. They know more about what I do than what I do. Hey, Cassie, good morning. Welcome in. Skip one into the next, single crochet. What is the colorway? That's going to really bug me now. I want to say it's aspen, but it's not aspen. Birchwood. Thank you. Thank you, Leah. Birchwood Cottage. I told you these mods know more than I do. Birchwood Cottage. That one is, I love this yarn, but it's a really pretty yarn. This one right here. This is the right side of the work where you see the little back loop stitches. This is the wrong side. See how it doesn't have those little lines of texture? It still looks pretty from both sides, but this side is the right side. I'm glad somebody knows what I'm doing over here, even if it isn't me. Okay, let's pick up this stitch that we missed now, yarn over, right down in, grab up that loop, pull them up nice and tall. One more time, yarn over, right back down in, and pull up a loop. Yarn over, pull through the first 4 loops on our hook. We're left with 2, yarn over, pull through the last 2. Skip 1 into the next, single crochet. Picking up that stitch that we missed once again, we've only got 2 more of these wheat stitches to make, and then we're ready to go to single crochets. So we're almost there, almost there. That's why us mods get paid the big doll hairs. That's right, Miss Leah. That is right. Y'all, the mods do this out of the kindness of their heart. They really do. There is they just help us. Isn't that amazing that they spend their time with us helping to answer questions? I can never thank them enough. I like to do the little things for them. I'm going to send them some stitch markers. I just need to get them made. That is a lot of loops you're going through. It absolutely is, Teresa. It's a lot of loops. But there is our wheat stitch finished. Brown looks so good with the loops and threads. It does look pretty good, right? This yarn that I'm using is a camouflage yarn. So this is a discontinued color, but if you had something similar to this, it's got the gold and the light green and the teal color. It has some brown in it too. I think it's going to be really pretty. They are moderators. Yeah, when you see somebody that is pinning a comment, you can see it right here on Leah's profile. See how she's got the little person with the gear next to her name? She is a moderator. And so sometimes we get bots that come in. Sometimes they don't have very nice handles, like very nice names on there. So they will take care of that for us. They pin comments. A lot of times I'm crocheting and I don't get to see all the comments. And so they'll pin one and stick it up to the top so that I know uh, questions that are being asked. It's a lot for me to talk and answer the questions and crochet at the same time. So anyhow, our mods do a stellar job. So you see them chiming in right there. Tony Ann, Rachel A, Gen X, Leapin' Llamas, that's Leah. Um, who else have I missed? Pam and Kelly with an I. Those are our mod squad. They are amazing. They really do. And they, they a lot of them they have work, they have kids. They just pop by when they can and help us and help me. So, do you 2 screens? Teresa, I am live this morning on TikTok. I'm also live this morning on YouTube. I'm using 2 different phones this morning to live stream. I'm watching the YouTube feed, reading comments on my television, and I am watching my tablet to read the comments on TikTok. So I'm using a total of 4 devices this morning, and I'm reading comments from TikTok and YouTube trying to answer questions. So it can get a little squirrely over here in Wheeler land. Okay, let's just put it that way. So we're down to our last 5 stitches for the crown of our beanie, the top of our beanie. These are going to be single crochets right here. And I'm going to work these into the back loop only. So we're going to ignore the front loop that's facing us here. And I'm going to work single crochets here into, these are the type of things that they deal with right here. That is what the mods are here to help us with. And you see how that just disappeared like that? That is how that happens, just like magic. Those mods take care of that. So anyhow, that is what they're here to do that. A lot of times, y'all, I don't even see those things happening. They are so fast with addressing it. I know you all see it in the chat, but we want this to be a family friendly, fun place to come and hang out. So that's why we have the moderators that help me, because it would be too much for me to try to do that myself. That's right. That's right, Rachel. Rachel's on it, y'all. Okay, for the last stitch, I like to go under both loops. This is the very top of our beanie here. This pattern that I'm making this morning, friends, is we're working on a beanie, okay? We're starting from scratch. The beanie that I am doing is by Briana K. Briana K is the queen of wheat stitch, and you can find a full tutorial of how to do her wheat stitch beanie on her YouTube. It's Briana K. She has a wheat stitch beanie, she has a blanket, she has a beanie that go where the stripes go up and down. She also has one that goes horizontal. I'm making the vertical beanie today. The horizontal is one that goes like along the horizon, okay? I'm not doing that one. I'm doing the one that goes up and down. She also has a pattern for how to do a blanket that is a chevron with the wheat stitch. And I have in the works a scarf. Okay, so this is the scarf. This is a different yarn. This is called Birchwood Cottage. We worked on this scarf yesterday. This is the same pattern though, but it gives it this really cool looking texture. Now I am using 2 strands of yarn this morning to make this beanie, so it can be more of a chunky beanie. I love this yarn in the colorway brown, which is a 4-weight yarn. That's what you see here. I'm not going to touch my skein, guys, because it's kind of collapsed beside me. I am partnering it with this discontinued yarn I had in my stash to make it more of a bulky weight yarn. But this is from Loops and Threads. And this is also a 4-weight yarn. So I'm pairing 2 4-weights together. Both of them are 100% acrylic. This is the colorway Jungle Camouflage, but I thought it would look nice with the brown, kind of bring in those greens and golds. So as we work along, this yarn is going to kind of transition colors automatically. So we are ready to turn our work, and we're going to do that by chaining 1. Some applause for April crocheting, explaining, monitoring multiple screens, and answering questions. You guys, I'm not perfect by any means, but I do try really, really hard to answer all the questions and, make it a fun live for you guys to all learn crochet stitches and stuff. I try really, really hard. If you are new to my channel, I am a hobby crocheter. I do work full time. I am on vacation this week. And so my mom is going to be here from out of town, and she's going to be here visiting until Sunday morning. And I'm going to do some cleaning around the house, which, is something that just needs to be done anyhow. So I am glad that my mom comes, because it encourages me to get the house cleaned up. Sometimes we need a little encouragement. So anyhow, here we go. We're going to start the 4th row of this repeat. We chain 1. This chain 1 does not count as a stitch. Rachel, have a great day. Good luck at your rheumatologist appointment. I have that. I have mine on Monday. I go see my RA doctor. So I'm right there with you, sister. I am right there with you. Autoimmune pals. That's what we are. Okay, into the first stitch here, I'm going to do my single crochet, and I'm going to do that again in the back loop. Now, bear in mind, this is the top of our beanie, the top of our hat. The first 5 stitches are single crochets. This will allow the top of our beanie to be not so bulky as we go to close the top of our hat. So there are 5 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Again, that chain I made does not count as a stitch. I'm going to pop in my stitch marker, so that way when I'm coming back around, the top of the beanie where I do my single crochets is easily identifiable. Now we're going to work the second part of the wheat stitch. So you can see I'm here. We're going to work them exactly the same. So look at the top of your work. Here's the first stitch. Here is the second stitch. We're going to skip one into the next under both loops, single crochet. Then we're going to come back. We're going to pick up this stitch that we missed. See it right here? This is that stitch. I'm going to work that into the space there where the puffs, we're going to do a modified puff stitch. So we yarn over, go down into that space, grab up a loop, pull it up nice and tall. You want this to be the same height as your other stitches. Yarn over, right back down in, pull up another loop, nice and tall. We're going to yarn over and pull through the first group of stitches here. This is my starting chain. See it over here on my loop or my starting loop? We're going to skip that one, pull through everything but that last one. And now we have 2 loops on our hook. Now, guys, I am using a double strand, but basically this is a stitch, this is a stitch. So we're going to pull through these last 2 stitches, okay? It gets a little confusing to talk about when we do 2 different strands of yarn. This is a repeating pattern, Ellie. So the first 2 strands that we did when we started out, I chained a total of 38. Then I added one as a turning chain. Then I came back and I worked a single crochet into those 38 chains that I made. Then I turned my work and I worked a single crochet into the back loop. So your first 2 stitches of the repeat are single crochet and then single crochet into the back loop. The last 2 stitches are where you do the wheat stitch. Now, bearing in mind, I'm making a brim on my beanie that is going to be single crochets. So this is the top of my beanie right here. This is the top, like where your pom-pom would go if you're going to put one. And we're working these wheat stitches down. Folding up the brim will look kind of like that. It'll be more obvious as we continue on with our rows. Okay, so here we go. Let's carry on with our wheat stitch now. So here is the first stitch. We're going to skip this one into the next, do our single crochet. Now we're going to come back and pick up this stitch right here that we missed. Okay, I'm going to work into that space under both loops, yarn over, right down in, all the way through, grab up our loop. Again, pull this up nice and tall. Yarn over, right back down in, and pull up again. Friends, if this is your first time making this stitch, I do not recommend working with 2 strands. Okay. Working with 2 strands will make it more complicated as you're working the stitch. So try to work with a 4-weight yarn, or you could work with a 5 bulky weight yarn. I'm basically creating my own bulky weight yarn is what I'm accomplishing because I'm putting 2 different strands of yarn together. But if you are first learning this, I do not recommend that. Make sure you are working with only a single strand of yarn. It will make it much easier as you are working this stitch. Skip one into the next, single crochet. Now we're going to come back and we're going to work into this stitch here that we skipped. Yarn over, right back down in, grab up a loop. Again, pull this up nice and tall. Yarn over one more time, right into that same space, grab up that loop, yarn over, pull through the first group of stitches, leaving this one behind. So now we're back to 2, and yarn over, pull through the last 2 stitches. Skip one into the next, single crochet. Now picking up that stitch that we missed, here he is right here. See him? We're going to work in that space. Yarn over, right back down in, grab up a loop. Now, when I say pull this up nice and tall, guys, let's talk about this for a minute. When I first bring up my work, this loop is kind of short through here. And what that does is it kind of forces my hook to kind of go up at an angle. What I am doing is I'm trying to bring this loop that I just made to get it taller. So I pull this. As I do this, it elongates this stitch that I just did. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to bring this almost so that my hook sits flat against my work, horizontal. So it makes this stitch a little taller. And that is what I'm trying to do and how I'm mentally kind of gauging this as I worked through this stitch. So then I yarn over, go right back down in again. Again, I don't want to leave this nice and snug to my work. We've got to bring this up tall. Okay. So I just try to pick my hook up and bring him flat. That is kind of the motion that I give. Okay. Again, we're going to work our stitch now, but we're going to ignore these two. So yarn over, pull through all of them except for that last stitch on our hook here. And then yarn over, pull through the last two. Skip one into the next, single crochet. Now, once again, here is the stitch that I skipped. We're going to work that modified puff right in there. Yarn over all the way down through, grab up that loop. Again, pick up my hook, bring it up tall. Okay. I just kind of scoop it up like that. And I bring the bottom of my hook down, bring that one up tall. Yarn over, right back down in. Again, bring that up nice and tall. Yarn over, pull through all except for the last stitch. We're left with two. Yarn over, pull through the last two stitches. Skip one into the next, single crochet. Again, I'm working under both loops. Now I'm going to work in that stitch that I skipped. Yarn over all the way through, grab up that loop, pick up the tip of your hook, bring that up nice and tall. Yarn over, back down in. We're making this a puff stitch. It's got to have lots of loops, okay? Yarn over, pull this through all of them except for the very last. Now we're down to two on our hook. Yarn over, pull through both. I do not chain. I chain when I first am starting out, Pariah. I started here with the chain, but as I'm working the stitches, I'm not chaining. The only time I chain is when I get to the very end over here. We chain one to turn our work, and you'll see that. 100% I've watched so many on YouTube and never understood till now. Ellie, I am so glad to hear that. Sorry, I missed the first comment there. But I just, guys, I say I'm not a crochet teacher, but I come on here and I do try to explain the stitches, how they kind of work in my brain. I've been crocheting for 41 years and I'm not an expert. This is not my full-time job. This is a hobby for me, but I try to just explain how I put my hook or how I turn my hook or how I work the stitches. And it seems to resonate with a lot of people and it helps to kind of explain. So I'm totally obsessed with the wheat stitch also. Sissy, I learned this stitch 1 week ago. I'm right there with you. I literally just learned this. I worked on it last week and I worked on it this week. I've been crocheting 40 years and it's the first time in my life I have ever done the wheat stitch. But I love it so much that I'm on the live showing you guys how to do it too, because it's a really beautiful stitch and I really enjoy making it. And I think it gives a really nice look to the hat. So, time check 9:30. Guys, normally I would go to work at 9:30. I am on vacation this week, so I'm going to crochet for maybe another 15 minutes or so. I do have to do some chores today, but this yarn I'm using is Loops and Threads. This is a discontinued yarn, but it's a really pretty yarn. It's got the green and a really nice like teal color in it, also some golds and browns, and I thought it would look really nice with just a chocolate brown yarn. So this is, I love this yarn. Also, they're both 100% acrylic. And this is just the colorway brown. Nothing fancy about it, just brown. Welcome back, Gen X girl. Welcome back. Um, we all keep watching April because she explains things greatly in such detail. I really do try, guys, to explain the stitches. And hopefully it helps you with your crocheting as we're working these. But this is how we're looking right now. Isn't it looking nice? Really pretty stitches. So this is what's called the wheat stitch. We're making a beanie this morning. And this is a 4-row repeat. We're on the 4th row right now. So chain one into the next, we're going to do a single crochet. I'm working under both loops. Now I'm going to come back, pick up this stitch that I missed. It's right here is the stitch. I'm going to go in the space right there underneath. I yarn over, right back down in, grab up a loop, pull this up nice and tall. So I bring the tip of my hook up so that it sits flat to my work and get that as tall as my other stitches. Yarn over, right back down in. Again, pull this loop up nice and tall. If you're first learning this stitch, friends, I do not recommend working with two strands as I am doing today. It is much more complicated, okay? So if you're first learning this, make sure you're working with only one strand, and that'll make it a lot easier to learn. When you're down to your last two stitches here, we're going to yarn over and pull through both. Tony Ann is back. Everybody's coming back. Teresa said, I like when you're on vacation. Teresa, I like when I'm on vacation too. I like being on vacation. All right, skip one into the next, single crochet. Now working into that stitch that I skipped right here, yarn over, right down in, grab up a loop, pull up nice and tall, yarn over, right back down in, pull up another loop, yarn over, pull through the first stitches. We're not going to go under this one. Leave that one behind. Now we have two stitches on our hook, yarn over and pull through the last two. If you are not feeling the vibe, feel disrespected, and do not connect, you leave a place. Yeah, I think Lala, I think people in general, if they're feeling those things, they wouldn't stick around. We try not to have those things here. We try to keep the chat very respectful and family friendly. We do have friends that watch with their kids in the mornings. I learned to crochet when I was 9, and so I like to keep this very family friendly and make sure that it's comfortable for all. And we talk about crochet and have our coffee and chat and all those things. So we really do try to have a nice vibe here. So skip one into the next, single crochet. The scarf, yes, the scarf is Birchwood Cottage, CC. Birchwood Cottage. This is the scarf I've got going also, guys. I'm almost done with this scarf. Sorry. This is the scarf right here. Oh, that's the back. Here's the front of the work. This is the colorway Birchwood Cottage. Teresa, I frogged the last beanie because it was too tight on the stitches. I was using 3 strands and it was too tight for the yarn. It didn't have enough stretch and give to the beanie. So when you're working on the beanie, you want to make sure it has like stretch and that it's going to feel comfortable, right? The other one was too tight and it was too tight through these stitches here. So instead of working with 3 strands, I frogged it and I'm working with only 2 strands. So don't be afraid to frog if your project is not turning out how you like it. It'll work out if you frog and just try again. Okay. Christy said, beautiful. Thank you so much, Christy. I appreciate you being here. If anybody has a question that I've missed, feel free to ask again. I do try to keep up with the chat and answer questions. Sometimes there's a lot going on when we have a lot of people on the chat. Okay, so I'm not trying to overlook anybody. If I missed your question, I'm trying to explain the stitches and answer all the questions and everything. So feel free to ask again if I happen to miss you or your question. Okay. So this is our last stitch again. Skip one into the next. Do your single crochet and then yarn over right back down into our stitch that we skipped into that space. We need our modified puff stitch. And I dropped a loop there. Let's try again. I messed up. Can you show the bottom of your pumpkin? I absolutely can. We worked on the pumpkin earlier on the live and we got it finished. We worked on the pumpkin last week and again this morning. So now here we are to our stitch marker. The stitch marker tells me we're going to do single crochets the rest of the way down for the beanie. But this is how we're looking so far. This is the top of our hat. This is the brim of our hat down here. Here is the pumpkin that we finished on the live. So this is the top of the pumpkin where I tightened it up. You can kind of see how it's got its little dimple there. And then this is the bottom of my pumpkin. So I didn't leave a hole at the bottom of the pumpkin. I closed it up tight to make sure that was solidly stitched. Now the top of the pumpkin, you can see there's a little hole right there. I'm going to find a stick outside in my yard to put in the top of my pumpkin. But we finished this on the live. You only need 1 skein for the pumpkin valve locks. It doesn't even use a full skein. I think I made 2 medium pumpkins with the skein. It doesn't take very much yarn. I use two different colors for the pumpkin. This is burnt pumpkin. I love this yarn. And this one is called autumn stripe. I love this yarn. The other color that looks really nice is cinnamon cedar. If you have cinnamon cedar in your stash, that makes a beautiful pumpkin as well. Or you can just do a solid color. I did one with the orange and it looks great also. So don't be afraid to use a solid color, even a solid green. I've seen people do the solid green and that looks really nice also. So use your imagination, use up this yarn that you have in your stash. It's really pretty. Paloma, welcome in. Abby, did you get all you needed off the pumpkin here, my friend? Are you good on the pumpkin? I wanted to read this comment here. Nanny Juju said, I learned from my oldest sister who is no longer with me. So when I crochet, I think of her. What a nice memorial comment. That is so nice. That you carry her with you, you know? That is my I learned to crochet from my grandma. And when I crochet, I think about my times with my grandma and learning with her. It's definitely I feel that very deeply, your comment there. So thank you for sharing that. Sissy said, I'm totally into the solid color with that discontinued camouflage. Yeah, it looks nice, right? It looks good. I just pick whatever random yarns I've got and I put the colors together and see how they turn out, you know? I used off-white for small pumpkins. Oh, I've seen a lot of white pumpkins, Jen. They turn out really nice. Let's see. I'm a beginner crocheter, and because of this live, I decided to try this pattern. I loved it. Chris Lynn, thank you so much for sharing that. That is great. I'm glad you're enjoying the pumpkin, guys. The wheat stitch beanie and the wheat stitch pumpkin are both patterns by Briana K on YouTube. Briana Briana K on YouTube. And she is queen of the wheat stitch. She does great work with the wheat stitch. So I highly encourage you to check her out. She has a full tutorial on how to make the pumpkins. She also has a full tutorial on how to make the beanie that I'm making this morning. Okay, so check her out. As we're doing this last little bit where our stitch marker was here, guys, we are going down and doing our single crochets, and I'm working these in the back loop only. Now, also, I'm keeping these stitches nice and loose, okay? As you work the brim of your hat, you want this to have a lot of stretch to it so that it will be able to have some play as you're working these stitches up and folding up the top of your beanie. So I'm trying to keep these the same width as this right here. For my very last stitch, I work under both loops of that last stitch instead of just the back loop. It's just a personal preference. Then I chain one and I'm going to turn my work. And now I'm going to work back up again in the back loop of all of the stitches. This chain one that I made does not count as a stitch. So I'm going to work in that back loop and do my single crochet. Again, keep these stitches nice and loose, nice and loose. Make a mental note as you're doing this to be kind of giving yourself some extra wiggle room there. Okay. Y'all, I hate to put this out there in the world, but Diesel is being so good right now, isn't he? He's being such a good boy. Mo is over there on his bed and sleeping. I do have times in my life where it's nice and quiet in my house, believe it or not, especially versus the crocheting chaos we had this morning. We've settled all that back down. For this hat, I chained 38. I chained 38 this morning for this hat. So here is our last stitch. Now, the other thing you can do is count these stitches. Okay, so as you're doing these, here's my first stitch right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I'm doing 11 stitches for the brim of the beanie. I'm going to pop in my stitch marker. This will indicate when I'm coming back around where I'm working those single crochets. Now, you work 2 stitches of the wheat stitch. So you can see those wheat stitches here, 1 and 2. Now what we're going to do is we're going to work a single crochet all the way up our hat here, okay? And I'm going to work now into both loops. So as I'm working the wheat stitches, I don't go in the front loop or the back loop only, I go under both and I do a single crochet. Now, as I'm doing this single crochet along these wheat stitches, as you can see, are super puffy. See how loose these stitches were down here? These stitches, I'm doing my regular tightness on these. Okay, so what I'm doing is I'm forcing these single crochets that are next to the wheat stitches to be a little tighter to compensate where this is extra bulky. So this I make kind of a little wider. This I make a little tighter because are more bulky. Does that make sense why I'm doing that little modification? So I'm working these just a regular single crochet under both loops. We're making a beanie this morning, friends, a wheat stitch beanie. This is a 4-row repeat. This is a free pattern by Briana K on YouTube. And I just love this wheat stitch. It's a lot of fun to make. So we're working up towards the top of our beanie. Once I get to my stitch marker, I'm going to go back to working in the back loop only. So the only time I work under both loops is when I am coming out of the wheat stitch in this section right here. Okay. And I work in both loops. And the reason why is because I like how it looks on the other side. This is the right side of my work that I'm showing now. And I like how that looks. This stitch here looks like it's a little unruly. I'll try to go back and even that stitch out a little bit. Hey, Miss Maggie. Yeah, it's turning out really nice. Jen, I'll go for another Diesel. Leave it. He's on the couch getting in my yarn. He got a label. All right, he can have a label. So these last 5 stitches here are the top of the beanie. Okay, and for these stitches, I'm going to work in the back loop only because I want that really cool line of texture as we head up to the top of our hat. The very last stitch, however, I work in both loops. I feel like it makes it more secure. Okay, so see how it's got the little line of texture there? Now we're ready to chain 1, and we're going to turn our work and work back down the other side of our hat here. And we're also going to be working single crochets for this round, okay? So we're going to work single crochets. Now for this, I am going to work a single crochet in the back loop only, all the way down. This chain of 1 does not count. For the top of my hat, remember we had 5 single crochets. There's 1, 2, 3, here's number 4, and 5, again in the back loop. Now I'm going to pop back in this stitch marker because this will help me to remember where the top of my beanie is, where these wheat stitches stop. See how the wheat stitch stops right here? That's going to help me remember. Now I'm going to work in the back loop all the way down with my single crochet. Paige says, I found you yesterday and you're heaven sent. I'm fairly a new crocheter. You explained so well. Thank you so much, Paige. I appreciate you being here this morning on the live. If you are new to my channel, my name is April and I'm a hobby crocheter. I come on live every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday mornings at 7:30 Central Time. And I usually stay on till 9:30, at which time I hop off and I go to work. However, I am on vacation this week. So I'm going to crochet a little bit longer here this morning as we're working on this beanie and just kind of show some more of these stitches. Now, when Briana K does her pattern, friends, when she does her single crochet rows, the one that we just did and this one, she works both of those in the back loop only. And when she does that, I do not like how it looks with the line of texture that is left behind. That is why when I finish my wheat stitch, I do the single crochet without going in the back loop. I go under both loops because I feel like it looks really neat without having that line there. It almost muddies the texture, I guess is the best way I could explain it. So anyhow, I do one row where I go in both loops as I'm working along the wheat stitch. And then for the second row single crochet, the one I'm doing right now, I work in the back loops only of all of the stitches. Now here we are to the stitch marker. This is telling me this is the brim of my hat. And as I get here, I make a mental note. I need to make these stitches bigger for the brim so that the brim is not too tight. Okay, so all of these along that here, I worked very like normal. Okay, but now as I get here to these bigger stitches, you can kind of see here. See how big this stitch is right here compared to this? It's just a smidge bigger. That's what we're looking to do. So as I go into this stitch, I'm still working in the back loop, but I'm just making this a little bit looser. And that will make sure we have enough stretch to be able to fold the cuff of the beanie up and not have it look too tight and awkward. Emily asked, what is my favorite stitch to do? You know, Emily, I don't know if I necessarily have a favorite stitch. I do a lot of different stitches. Um, I really like the half double crochet. It's probably one of my most favorite stitches. However, I like the double crochet. I love doing post work, like front post and back post. I know a lot of people don't like those stitches, but I love how it gives the line of texture and really gives that definition. So there is the brim of our beanie now. So again, make sure this is, see how it's got lots of play in the stitches? That is what you're looking for. So once again, we're going to turn our work. This is the front side of our beanie right here. So see how this line of texture and this line of texture is framing our wheat stitch? It makes that wheat stitch be the star of the show. That is what we're looking for. So now what we're going to do is we're going to turn our work and we're ready to do another row of the wheat stitch. So once again, I chain one, turn my work, and keep in mind that chain that I made right here does not count as a stitch. So we're going to work into the first stitch, once again, working in the back loop and bearing in mind these need to be loose. We're working on the brim of our beanie. So I know I keep saying that over and over again, but I promise you, as you go to make this stitch, you're going to hear me in your head saying, I'm to the brim. April said, make these stitches looser, and you will thank me. Because the first beanie that I did, Briana K did not tell me to make sure my brim was loose. And what I ended up with was the top of my beanie, and then the brim was super tight and I didn't like it. So it looked almost like a mushroom, like the top of the hat was like bowled out, and then the bottom was kind of like a stem. Does that make sense? It was too tight. So that's why I'm saying it. Make sure you get these nice and loose. Don't do what I did because she didn't say anything about it, and uh I didn't know. I just didn't know. So for the brim, we do 11 stitches. So once again, I'm going to count these. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Put back in my stitch marker. So that is the brim of our hat. So as we're looking at this, here's the top of the hat. Here's our stitches going up. This is the brim that is going to fold up and be the bottom part of our hat. See how that's going to look? Okay. Hey, Bully, good morning. Welcome in. So now we're going to start with our wheat stitches. Now the wheat stitches are worked in increments of 2. I work in the back loop of the first stitch. Yes, as I'm first coming out, I work in the back loop only because the chain is what's giving it the structure on the edge here. I'm working with 2 different yarns this morning. The brown yarn that I'm using, this brown right here, is I love this yarn from Hobby Lobby in the colorway brown. Okay. This green that I'm using is just something that I had in my stash. Unfortunately, it has been discontinued, friends, but I'm just pairing the 2 of them together. And it's got this light green and like an emerald green color, some gold and browns. And I thought it would look nice with the brown, kind of a two-tone look to it, I guess. But it has been discontinued. This is Jungle Camouflage. When I am pairing yarns together, I try to make sure that they are the same fiber content. So, for example, this is 100% acrylic. The I Love This yarn is also 100% acrylic. Hazel over on YouTube, I'm sorry, I missed your comment. It went up before I could read it. Could you repost your comment over there? I apologize. I was showing this yarn and I totally missed it. Please, friend, ask again. Okay, the way we work this wheat stitch is we are going to work into these 2 stitches right here. This is the first stitch, into the second stitch. I'm going to skip this one, and into the next stitch here, we're going to do a single crochet. Then in this stitch that I skipped right here, Hazen said, do you think using a larger stitch instead of working looser would work as well? Like half double crochet or single crochet in the brim? I think that would work, Hazen, as well. So what Hazen's question is, I'm saying as I do the brim, I'm working looser on these stitches to make sure I have enough stretch for this. Pardon me. Let me get a drink here, guys. I've been talking for too long. I'm starting to get a little hoarse. What Hazen's question is instead of a single crochet, maybe if you did a half double crochet here, it's a little taller and it would help with that. I have not tried that. I do think it would work. I just think you would need to experiment with it and make sure you like how it looks. Paige says, I have so much housework to do, but watching you makes me want to crochet all day. It makes me want to crochet all day too, Paige. And I have to do housework too. My mom's going to be here tonight. I still have dishes to do. I have pots and pans to wash. I need to unload the dishwasher and put a load of dishes in. I need to fold the towels. Her bedroom is ready, but the other thing I've got to do today is I've got to do the floors and dusting. I swept the floor 3 times yesterday while I was cleaning up. The Diesel was making just such a huge mess. And I didn't mop yesterday, so I need to sweep the entire floor and mop as well. But I don't think she'll be here till like 3, and I'm going to go until 10 o'clock. So I'm going to be hopping off here soon, friends. If you are enjoying the live and have not hit that follow button, now is your time to do so. I'm going to be hopping off here soon because I do have to get ready for my mom to visit. Paige, my little Diesel. I say he's little. He's not little. He is a Rottweiler. He's a Rottie, and he makes a big mess. He's 9 months old. Right now, he's torn up a yarn label. He busted through the doggy door this morning and decided he was going to be inside on the live. He's brought in a flower pot from outside. He brings in sticks and then he chews up the sticks all over the house. He's big, but he still is like a puppy. So, a lot of our friends here, they saw him when he was just a puppy. I used to bring him up after I was crocheting and he would sit here in my lap. Well, he's not a lap dog anymore, friends. He probably is all of 100 pounds at this point. He's a big boy, but he's only 9 months old. So he still has like puppy brain thoughts. Anything that he can bring in the house, he would like to bring it in the house. The other day, he was trying to bring in a 10-foot stick and it's a whole thing we go through, but he just came back inside. I'll pause here and I'm going to go ahead and end the live, guys. But if you are new and you want to see Diesel, since he is inside today, I will show you our boy. We have 2. We also have we call him Mo here on the live. His name is AMMO. So we have Mo and Diesel. Sometimes TT doesn't like when I say his real name. But TikTok friends, I'm going to lift you up and I'll show you our puppy dogs that are creating all the chaos and stuff this morning. So that is Mo over there. See how this is what Mo does all day. Mo just chills out and does his thing there in his dog bed. He is very good. Now our other child is this guy right here. He's 9 months old. We got him at the end of December, but that's how big he is. You can see there next to him, that's a flower pot that he dragged in this morning. But he likes to try to get up here on my lap. He's kind of getting more mellow. He does sleep for most of the day. Normally I'm at work right now, so he definitely normally will sleep, but he does try to get up here in my lap when I'm crocheting. So that is who's creating all the chaos. Now, I have normally my guest room is my yarn room, and I have all my yarn in there. And when my mom comes, I bring a lot of the boxes out. So this stack of boxes right here is extra yarn. The whole stack here on the right, all of this are blankets and hats for donation. I have to put labels on them and get them sent out, but that's all my extra yarn that normally hangs out in my mom's bedroom. So anyhow, yeah, this is what he likes to do. He likes to come here as we're on the live, and he puts his little head here, and he tries to get pets and love and attention. And he just is kind of rambunctious first thing in the morning. But he is a good boy, and he's going to be a very good dog as he gets older. So he's kind of in his sleepy time. It's nap time for Mr. Diesel. You got a lot of shoeies in your eyes too, buddy. Yeah, you got a lot of shoeies. So when you hear barking and craziness, he's in his rambunctious phase, but he's being a good boy right now. Oh, he's being a good boy. But you can see how big he is. Y'all are lucky to get to see him because a lot of times he's not on the live anymore. He stays outside. I'm missing the comments, y'all. I'm trying to give him pets. He's a handsome boy. Yeah, he's a handsome boy. Huh. He's a good boy. Yeah, he's mom's baby. He's mom's baby. He's never this good, y'all. I mean, he is in the afternoon, but you can see why I love him, right? Yeah, he's a good boy. He's a good boy. Shall we get you a treat? You want to get a little treat action? Mom has your treats here. Oh, you're going to sit and be good? All right, here you go. Good boy. Come here. Come here. Come on. Sit. Diesel. Sit. I do this motion with my hand. Sit. Sit. Good boy. Good sit. Yeah, good sit. Shake. 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 Good shake. Oh, yeah, good shake. You're showing off today, aren't you? Good sit. Yeah. Anyhow, we are making progress, friends. We're making progress. Okay, that's all, buddy. All right, y'all. I think with that, we are going to call it. We're going to call it a day. I'm going to go do all of my chores that I need to do. Thank you all so much for being on the live with us this week. I hope you've had a great week, and I hope you have a fabulous weekend. Thank you for all the taps. We're at 100,000, 105,000. Thank you for all the gifts, love, support, all the subscribers. Thank you all for hanging out. I hope you have a beautiful weekend. I'm off into the wild blue yonder. Bye for now.